Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Reset Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Munoz, CEO of the experience agency, The Flash. Each episode, I bring on a different business leader who's doing some game-changing things, and this episode is no different, of course. And we're talking this time of COVID where, we're all at home, we're trying to figure it out, and how do we pivot, how do we move forward? And one of the companies that's done a phenomenal job of that is Luminary. And so I'm so excited to have Cate Luzio, Luminary's CEO and founder, to talk about how she built her business, how she's dealing with this in the universe, how she survived COVID, Superwoman, and where she sees us going next and forward. So, hi, Cate.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
I'm good. It's being trapped in a tin can has its advantages because it's a sunny day and I'm going to stay inside.
It is a weird world we are living in.
Very strange, very strange. But even though we are in very strange times, the podcast does not change. And the first question does not change. So, Cate, what was your first job?
My first job ever, or my first job when I got out of college?
Whatever you want to pick.
My first job ever, my first real job that I got a paycheck and I got taxes taken out of it was I worked at Foot Locker.
Ah.
I did, yes. It was not far from my house where I grew up in New Jersey. And I also was a big athlete, so I wanted discounts on sneakers. And you always wanted like the new Nikes that came out. And I remember my dad saying, well, you're old enough to work. Go get a paycheck and you could buy those Nikes. And so I chose Foot Locker. And it was good because you learn customer service. You're also touching people's feet. And it was fun. Exactly. Yes. So that was my first again, when I also realized how much taxes are taken out and what the government takes from you. And my expectation was like, wait, I worked this many hours. Why is my paycheck so low?
Like, oh, this thing called taxes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you go from smelling people's feet in land of Foot Locker.
Yes.
So obviously there was a big shift because I feel like there was a period where you were a banker. So how did we end up getting to being here as the CEO and founder of Luminary? What was that journey like?
So, again, if you had asked me, I mean, I've been on this entrepreneurial journey less than 2 years. If you had asked me that 2 years ago, if I would be sitting here running a company, I would have said absolutely not. I have no, this is not, I'm not ashamed of it. I've always been sort of that company person. I'm take a lot of direction. I can lead. I feel like I'm a great manager, and I spent almost 20 years in corporate America, but in particular in finance and banking. And I love what I did. I accelerated pretty quickly. I ran big businesses for some of the biggest banks in the world. And I loved to develop talent. I really found that was something that I loved to do in addition to my sales roles, which was the majority of my career. And I was getting disheartened by the fact that I kept seeing the same statistics over and over around women and the lack of opportunities, number of on boards of CEOs, and just in general, the pay disparity. And so as I looked around, it wasn't just in finance, because that's what my world was. That was the silo that I was living in. And I sort of picked my head up and said, wait, it's not just for women in finance, and it's not just for white women. It's for women, it's people of color, it's specifically women of color, and it's in all industries. And why aren't we doing better, and how can we do better? And so made the decision that I could take that 20 plus years of building businesses and running businesses and understanding people and the challenges that face women, and create a company out of it. And Luminary was born, we're 14 or 15 months old. So our first real operating month was January of 2019.
And so, of all the things to decide to do, you were like, I'm going to open a co-working space.
I know.
In this unusual crowded marketplace where all these other co-working spaces exist, what made you think that you could offer something different?
Well, one, I don't consider us a traditional co-working space. In fact, I never, if people have heard me talk or read articles that I've written or been interviewed in, I never actually identify us as a co-working space. We're a collaboration hub and a physical community of women. And I'll talk about the virtual aspect when we get to it. But it was really about not targeting one kind of woman, right? It wasn't just for bankers. It wasn't just for freelancers or entrepreneurs. It wasn't just for over 50. It wasn't just for C-suite. It wasn't just for people that needed a co-working space. It was to create a community that brought women of all industries, backgrounds, levels, titles, representation into one space where we could learn from one another. We could upskill by programming, we could connect, we could develop, and we could inspire. And you've got great co-working spaces and other, clubs out there, but I didn't want to create that. And I knew that at the heart of what I wanted to do was accelerate a woman in their career in whatever way they wanted to accelerate. So again, if you don't want to be the CEO or at the C-level, you just want to continue to grow your skills, or you may want to get out of your industry completely and try something new, or you may want to launch a business. How do I help support that? And that is what Luminary is there to do. It's there to support the women, again, regardless of what their objective is. And that's why we offer so much programming. And that's our biggest differentiator. Co-working, communal workspace that we offer is really one of our amenities, like our fitness studio, our podcast studio, our rooftop, our beauty bar, our free wine on tap. But at the heart of what we do is I gotta always get that in, is the community and the programming and the thought leadership, where you walk away every day and say, I accomplished something, I got shit done. Oh, I met somebody, I made a connection, I have a new client, I was able to sell something, I could, sell my product, or I brought a client there and I got some new business. So it's really meant to be, again, that community and building blocks on top of that, versus I'm focused on a particular woman, and I'm really focused on the whole woman.
So it sounds like you built a community.
Built a community, yes, and we're very proud of that community.
And I think that, and that's why it's such a phenomenal group. And full disclosure, part of the fan. And I think why it works so beautifully is that it enables every woman to feel good. And whether that's a entrepreneur or whether that's someone who's just kind of passing through, I'm always remarked upon the interesting people I seem to run into everyone I know at Luminary. I'm like, what are y'all doing here? Which goes to tell you, because I have 11,000 really unique circles that I'm a part of, and that the fact that a lot of times they converge in Luminary is a testament to what a wonderful job of creation that you all have done. So, I tip my hat to you all.
Thank you.
In making that come to life. But I know that road is not easy, because for one thing, you funded this, so this is your baby.
It is definitely my baby. Yes, in many senses of the word. And again, having that experience and that background of my former life in finance, I knew the goods and the bads of it in trying to take money. I also knew the challenges of raising money. I also knew the challenges of going after money, and not just from investors, but even from banks, right? It's very hard as a startup to get a small business loan. We're seeing that sort of play out now in a different way. It's very hard just to get any access to capital. And so I had a successful career. I'm still young. I hope I'm having a second life here, but I saved a lot of money, and I've talked about this. I had always planned on having children, and very early on when I started my career, my dad said, "You better start saving now, because we paid for your college, and you better pay for your own kids' college." And so I started saving, and it wasn't a negative. It was like, okay, save money, and then lo and behold, I can't have children, and so I had saved this money. And when this idea sort of came in my head, and I wrote this business plan, and then we, drafted financial projections and the P&L, it's like, wait, I could do this. So let's just put my money where my mouth is. I've been talking about women and supporting women, and I'm going to do it. And so, yes, in a very crowded market, in a sense, opening up Luminary, but I made the decision, and I think I did it the right way. And I will forever say that, especially now. I didn't want to have a bunch of spaces, because I'm not a real estate play. I am really building this community, and people constantly ask me a year into this, well, are you going to open up, in Brooklyn? Are you going to open up in the Upper West Side? I said, no, and if I ever open up, it will be in another city.
Mhm.
because the community that we built is here in Nomad in the heart of Manhattan, and people come to that. The minute I open up another one in New York, I see a dilution of that. And part of what we've built is exactly what you said. You walk into the space, it's welcoming, it's open, it's, you meet so many different kinds of people. And if I recreate that, I want to recreate that in another city. Our home here in New York is our home. And so bootstrapping it has been a challenge, of course, anytime you do that. And now going through the crisis, I think is adding a whole new level of fear and anxiety and worry. But I also know we're going to get through it.
Because of course you will. Like, again, you're an entrepreneur. You'll figure this out.
Right. And you just do it. Right. And,
You just do it.
I think you just do it. Right. And you're right. You there's no option around failure. Right. And because you're going to fail in different things, but you're going to recreate, you're going to adapt, you're going to pivot, and you're going to transition, and you're going to make whatever it is that's supposed to be that success a success. And so, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, call it, because I think I can't remember how long we've been sitting. Would I have said we were going to be a digital, have a digital community? No, I would have said, wait, we've got all these events planned. We're going to still do them in April. But 36 hours of shutting our doors temporarily, we had a new digital community. We had everything online. And in 5 weeks, we've held more than 60 programs, workshops, and events. So no different than what we were doing in the physical space. Without that, I walk by you and say, hey, Laura, what's up? We got to connect on Can. Or, hey, Laura, what's up? I got to introduce you to someone. That's different, but I think we've also created new channels of communication, whether it's our Slack and our new Facebook group. We already had an app that we can use with a community board and a jobs board, but just figuring out ways to engage with the community that's still as authentic as we were in the space. We're still being ourselves and not losing our identity just because right now we're going through this crisis. And I think you said it earlier when we were talking, bolting on. And I love that. It's like, okay, what are we doing now? And then we're going to bolt on things over time as we reopen. And so I'm not just looking at the present, I'm looking at the future too, and everything that we can be doing to support our members, not only our individual members, but our corporate members. And that's just the last thing. The other thing that I would just say is we have, because we're not a traditional co-working space, we work with so many corporates. Again, take that 20 years of corporate experience that I had, and I felt like I knew as one of those women what I needed. Working with companies, I can move that needle faster than I can just with individuals. So we've taken this like double-pronged approach where we work with individuals like you and Felicia, and Carol, and then the JP Morgans and the WWs of the world.
Yeah, I think it's again, it's a testament to the ability to sort of sit in multiple worlds. I mean, the best entrepreneurs, just are Switzerland. This is my always joke about it. I can be anywhere and have a friend there. And I think that's the difference between folks who want to be an entrepreneur and the folks who actually become entrepreneurs, because you're going to be in different circles. And how do you get those circles to sort of come together in really unique ways where they all feel like it's comfortable? Like, you don't see there's a JP Morgan section at Luminary. There's not just a Fly Female Founders section. There's just a community, and you never know who you might be talking to. And as a result, great stuff happens. So,
absolutely.
One of the interesting things, though, for you is that you got COVID. So how in the world did you get through all that madness?
One, again, to back to your point about being an entrepreneur, you just get through it, right? I think whether I was working at a bank or I was running Luminary, I was just going to be focused on getting through this. I have an incredible team that, you hire a team for a reason. You hire them for skills that complement yours. And within a week of sort of being at home, I was very sick, and I was sort of saying, oh, it's just a cold, and then it wasn't. And without almost even having to say it, the team had already sprung into action without even me being sick, just saying, okay, what do we need to do? And they're all spread out and remote. And the skills that I've seen them, come up with that I didn't even know they had. And I think this is actually such a positive right now, is going through this. Our team is closer together. Our team is really leading together, but I've also seen new skills come out of it. Personally, it was really hard, right? You're trying to be there for your team, you're trying to be there for your customers, and in that case, our members. Unfortunately, have an incredible boyfriend who was with me and has been with me every day since, and taking care of me. So, not doing it alone, I had that opportunity and privilege to have someone be able to take care of me. Great healthcare, where I could, pick up the phone and call my doctor. Not everybody has that. The biggest thing for me, and the way I describe it, it was like having the flu, bronchitis, migraine, and then losing your sense of taste and smell all in one for 3+
Oh,
weeks.
awesome.
Yes. So, and
Sounds
the biggest,
terrible.
but I'm here and I've made it through it and I'm feeling so much better. But I would say it's like back to what your mom says when you're little, you have to rest. And the doctor, every time I talk to the doctor or my mom, they'd be like, the biggest thing you have to do is rest. And so
And
how do you rest?
like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to keep my company alive. What? No.
Exactly. So, the amount of texts I would get from my mom saying, are you resting? Are you resting? I'm like, well, first, I can't rest if you keep texting me. But second of all, no, I have to do certain things and I will rest when I have to. Getting through and navigating PPP, right? I couldn't just say that's going to, we'll figure that out later. Things like that. And certainly we launched a digital membership in the midst of all this, and lots of new other options for our members to engage. But for me, it was just, resting when I had to rest. And I probably am not a great example. If I probably could have gotten over this quicker, if I had rested a bit more. So lesson learned, this is a serious thing, and, listen to your body. But I also know that I wanted to come out of this, and I wanted to be an example too, to my team that I'm there. And it's definitely been, last Thursday was the first day I actually felt better, and slowly and surely I'm getting my strength back, but it kicks your ass. It really does.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'm a lucky one.
And you're a lucky one. That's the thing. I think, it's a testament to a couple of things. One, as entrepreneurs, we all think that we can be superhuman and we can just get through it. And the word rest is a 4-letter word for us. And we have to realize, no, it's actually kind of important. But two, the importance of hiring a team that matters, and a team that wants to be a ride or dies. And I think, we're both lucky in that we have teams that, will walk through fire for us. And that's the thing.
Yes.
Because I think one of the things that happens right now, especially, is we're all so freaked out by this. And so to have a team is like, this is scary, this is freaky, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm going to run forward, and I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to keep the company going. It's really a testament to what happens when you give the team, the autonomy to do what they think is going to be right, and trust them to do that.
Absolutely. And give them, this is such a great time to have people creatively problem solve, to think of new ways, new products, new offerings, new ways to engage. And I have to say, it's not just my staff, our community at Luminary, the amount of people that have come out and said, how can I help? Or what can I do? Or can I lead a program? That is already, and by definition, it's a community, right? You're helping each other, you're inspiring each other, but it really also goes to show that this idea of reinvesting in one another, what I've seen just in, some of the sessions that I've led or joined, to the communication online, I'm amazed, right? And that also helps you get through some of this, because the days, and this as a longtime entrepreneur, the days when you want to just call it quits. You're like, what else can go wrong? You get a message or an email or a text, and you're like, that's why I'm doing this.
Right, exactly.
And in a good day, without coronavirus and sheltering in place, it's friggin' hard. You add all that, it's just harder. But we got into this for a reason. I built this company for women and men, because men are not excluded, and we welcome them and we want them there. But I built it for a reason, and that reason hasn't changed since the day I wrote the business plan. And the last thing that I would say is write a business plan, have a business plan. I harp on this for so many founders and small business owners that I talk to. This allows you to go back and say, what did I start this company for? I have a plan. Yes, I have to adapt, or I have to pivot, or I have to add. But at the core, I have built this to last. I have built this to succeed. I know my numbers. I've got a P&L. And that also allowed us to quickly pull together the information for our PPP and navigate through that process. It wasn't easy, but I think it was easier for us than for others, just given my background too.
Right. Helps when you're a banker.
Yes, absolutely. Now, but that doesn't, people will say, oh, you must have all these connections. And I do, but that is
Doesn't
not,
matter.
no, it doesn't matter. It means, again, this was a flawed process and for lots of reasons. And, again, the companies that need it, I think there are a lot that didn't get it. That's got to change. And those that took it, judgment day will come. And I'm sorry, I have to say that, but it will.
Yeah,
and that's going to start with your pocketbooks. And certainly for me, and I've been, without calling certain companies out, I've been very vocal on LinkedIn just around the lack of leadership that these CEOs possess if this is the decision they're making.
Yeah, there is a glaring empathy hole that they've all decided to sit down into. And you're like, what? You can't do that. Because again,
for cheap money.
We can see you. For a 1% loan, how many millions and millions of dollars is it going to cost you in terms of potential revenue? Because you got $5 million of a loan. Well, you just lost $30 million in revenue. Because am I upset at you at company XYZ? Nope, I'm done with you.
Nope, exactly.
If I have little money now, why am I going to spend my little money with company X because they were so horrible and took money that could have gone to somebody else, like my neighbor or someone else? Like, it's not going to happen. So, you're right. Judgment Day will 100% come. And so what would you tell 25-year-old Cate at this point? And having gone through all of this and, survived the pandemic disease, 1.5 years of entrepreneurship, and 20 years plus banking.
I would say keep taking risks. I think people think that when you're in the corporate world, and I was in it for a long time, you don't take risks. And I did. I moved around the world for different jobs. I moved to different banks for different jobs without having a heck of a lot of experience in those roles. But raised my hand and got opportunities. At 25, I was taking risks. I went to China. I had never really done anything like that. And I was working there. And that was just, again, I think I was hearing my father and my mother in my head saying, well, what's the worst that can happen? You fail or you might fall down, but you'll get back up. And so that 25-year-old, I would say, keep taking risks, trust your gut. Because for me, it's as my later years, it's all about my gut instinct and stop worrying about your weight. We are so self-critical, right? I think about that now, and I was, I think what men and women were, but I think women in more. We all worry about so many, and these are the little things, right? They're so insignificant,
right,
in your life, and that's, I remember, if I can remember being back at 25, it's like embrace every opportunity, take the risk, and forget about the small stuff that is, and we didn't even have social media when I was 25. I mean, we barely had the internet. So I can't even imagine the pressure these kids are under now, but that is something. And again, I think that risk-taking, never lose that, whether you're in a corporate world or you become an entrepreneur. And I would tell that girl the same thing. And pluck your eyebrows. I'm Italian, so I look back at pictures and I'm like, whoa, no one.
Yeah, God bless eyebrow threading, I gotta tell you. But you can't even do it right now.
I know. I look like Teen Wolf right now.
Like, it's just so. I would kill for a gel manicure right now.
Oh my God, me too.
I did my nails all over the weekend. I was like, oh, this will be therapeutic. I mean, no, it's not. I need someone to do it for me. It's so stressful. I'm like, I don't want to mess it up. I'm like, oh, fine. It's like the one good thing I think that when it all comes together, like all the services businesses, provided that we are, safe, are going to
Yes.
explode
Oh my
because
gosh.
I want a
Yes.
massage. I want my nails done. I want a blowout in the worst freaking way. I also want to
Yes.
pay someone to do this for me weekly because I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. Yes, and it's you forget how much you rely on those services. You take them for, obviously we've all taken them for granted, and I was reading an article, I don't know if it's true or not, of these underground nail salons that are popping up.
Oh,
Uh,
Jesus.
and I'm like, okay, first of all, health and safety is first, but
I
also
just,
like, I'm wondering where that is, right? So, and it's joking because there are people that are in much worse positions, but I think it also puts in, the people that are working in the grocery stores, the people that are working, delivering our food. We're in New York, we have great luxuries of being able to get our food delivered and get Instacart and all that. But I have a newfound respect, not that I didn't respect them before, but just for everything that they're doing. And then the people that don't have, from the dry cleaners to the nail salons to the hair salons, I walk around New York and I just feel terrible that, that hopefully we get on our feet sooner rather than later, and that this damn PPP gets to the people that need it the most.
well, it's interesting. Like I was walking in Soho on Saturday because I was like, I just have to go for a walk. And I ended up in Soho and I was walking down Mercer Street. And I was like, it's empty. And then I looked around and I realized, wait a minute, there are no streetcar vendors. Like the guys selling
Yeah,
hot dogs, the
hot
guys
dogs.
selling the hats, the guys selling the pop-up cards. Like that, like how does that economy come back in this
Right,
universe? Because they can't go apply for a PPP loan. Like,
right.
and
Yes, exactly.
it's it makes me want to like yell at the people who are in power and be like, you understand how there are all these microeconomies that happen in cities like New York that are not are the engines that make New York go. And
Yes.
that guy who's selling those hats, daughter might be going to private school and he's paying for that private school for the money he makes by selling those hats every single day. And how that
Yeah.
girl not can go to that school, and then now she's going to a good school, going to a crappy school because she can't afford to go to that school.
Right,
And
the
how
domino effect
it's
and the
like
length, like this is not one generation. This
it's
could go for a
long.
long time.
Like the
Yeah.
dominoes go back further and further and further. And so it, my hope and like, I will use my powers for good to find more ways to sort of help, because I think it's so necessary more than ever now for us to remember that like, our city is an engine that has a million little parts. And in order for
Yes.
the engine to really run, all those parts have to come back. Not just the big shiny ones, but all those little ones who you took for granted all those days. So we'll see. Well, I hope that we will, recover stronger than we have before. But in terms of recovery, so obviously you've
Yes.
wonderfully recovered from COVID, thank goodness. But how do you manage your self-care in this side of the universe? Because obviously you have the weight of the world on your shoulders, because running a business is hell on
Yep.
earth. What are you doing to sort of, what's the stuff you're doing for Cate?
So I am Italian and Irish. My mom loves to say, make sure you say the Irish part because you're not just one. And I love to cook. And so for so many years, I lived on a plane when I was a banker, so I was never home and I never really got that time. And even sick, my therapy has been to cook. And so, I'm a direction follower. And so you give me a recipe and that's all I can think about, right? It's like, okay. And it really takes me out of thinking about what's going on in the world and the company and the stress and the sickness. And I'm focused on that recipe for whatever, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever that is. And I have cooked my way through this whole thing. I should be working out, but I wasn't allowed to work out. So now, whatever, again, back to that, forget about your weight thing. And so it's been really nice. That's what I've been doing. And then the other thing is just connecting with people that I'm so used to, Laura, seeing people in the Luminary space. And by nature of who I am, I'm a connector and I need that human interaction. And it's been really tough and depressing to say, I don't get to see everybody that I'm normally seeing. I sit in the kitchen and that's where I sit every day when I'm not running around and being crazy, but not being able to see people. So I've made it a point where I have a Whisper Network dinner every 2 weeks. We have a cocktails with Cate every other week. So that I get to see people too, not just, connecting members, which is great, but I need that as well. And so for me, that's been a lot of my self-care, and I talk to my mom almost every day. It's been a nice thing to be able to have with her. And we're not just talking about coronavirus. We're talking about positive things and the good stuff that we're seeing in the news, because there is some good stuff, and the news is not showing as much of that. I love the pots and pans and the screaming at 7 p.m. We just saw the planes fly over. So trying to think about what life is going to be like after this and looking forward versus going down the rabbit hole every single minute.
Yeah, I think it's really important to like focus on the positive and whatever you can find, because there are gems of, awesome things. Like, when I went for my walk in Soho, I found that Dominique Ansel is open, and it made my day.
Yes.
Yes, dude.
Oh.
And it's fully stocked. Like, I got
Whoa.
croissants, I got macadamia nut cookies, I got this like this chocolate tartufo situation. Oh my, it gave me so much joy. I spent so much money that I shouldn't have spent, but I was like, what am I over here?
Yes, exactly.
But that was the thing. It was like, but like these little nuggets, and I was so happy, and like I tipped the folks at who were making stuff up, and it was packed. Everyone's like, wait, this is open.
Yes.
Like,
that's a secret.
and I think they deliver. So I'm just saying.
Oh, interesting.
But like, there are those like little pockets of New York, and I think to myself, like, I have never had time to go over here. Like, I've been there like twice, or I've been at dinner and someone's brought it, but I haven't had a chance to like go there and get some like delightful goodies. And I'm like a sweet fiend, so like
so even more so. Yeah, that's great. No, that's great to know.
Yeah, so I was like, I was telling everyone, I'm cancel. It's open. It's on Spring Street. Like,
you're doing a commercial.
This is all
sponsored by.
But it was one of those like surprise and delight New York moments where it's like, oh, this feels like New York again. Like, and
right.
Those are the kinds of
that moment. Yeah,
those moments
exactly.
really matter right now more than anything else right now, because it's difficult. This isn't an easy thing for anyone to deal with. So, last question. So, as part of my series of people I'm interviewing during this very weird time, we have a give or an ask. So, Cate, what's your give and or ask?
So my give is, again, not sure when this is going to air, but for many of you that are small business owners, if you are kind of navigating through these grants and the PPP and the continued challenges, I run a course on business plan bootcamp. And so whether it's looking at your business plan, pivoting your business plan, navigating through the PPP and all this, I am kind of raising my hand to do that for free for people that reach out. So they can reach out to me via my Instagram, my LinkedIn, or my email, because I want to help the small business owners. The second thing on the give is, if you are a small business owner and you've got a company, whether it's a product, a service, tech, whatever, we launched the Luminary Collective at collectiveluminary.com. And it is a collective of women-owned businesses, women-led, women-owned, women-founded. We don't care if you're part of Luminary or not. We don't care where you're based. All we care is about getting your voice, your brand, your product out there and amplifying it. And you can not apply. You can join right online. It's a simple Google form. So those are our gives. My asks is, one, be there for your network, for the people that are out there. We have now launched a digital membership as well at Luminary to reach more people and to give access not just here in New York as we were in just the physical community. So my ask is, check us out. Check out our programming. Check out the wonderful partners we have, like Fly Female Founders that Laura's a part of, and join us. And we don't have an application process because we feel women have too many barriers to entry. So it's a join now community. And that's, we hope we'd see you there, even if it's for one program, a happy hour. But we'd love to see more people joining our community.
Awesome. Ah, great. And we'll put all those informations in the show notes so folks can sign up with the collective as well as become a member for the digital membership for Luminary. As I said, it's a phenomenal community with lots of great programming, and I'm sure we're going to be doing more with you guys with Female Founders as well. So I encourage you all to sign up for it. So Cate, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's been so fun. I could talk to you for hours, Laura, and I'm looking forward to more events, but also to hopefully seeing you soon and raising a glass to being healthy.
Absolutely. And we're so glad that you are, Cate. And that is our show.